Hello, my name is MJ Brown. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, and the lesson that we're going to cover today is the consumption of caffeine or excess caffeine. So caffeine can be found in coffee, in chocolate, in other drinks, and also in certain foods. And the effect of caffeine, it will increase cortisol level. So number one is like cortisol is a stress hormone. It's also a fat producing hormone. So when cortisol is high, it's harder to lose body fat. So that's number one to remember. And also when your body is in a state of stress, it sees it as a protection mechanism that kicks in, and your body will hold on to body fat. So those two kind of work together. The second point of excess caffeine consumption is it depletes all your B vitamins. And your B vitamins are necessary in many functions in the body, but one I want to focus on is your brain function. So B vitamins are like the keys to the ignition of your car. So you have a car with a motor and gas, but without keys, you can't start it. So it's the same with B vitamins. They're the methylators to get the proper interaction between neurotransmitters. Caffeine will have a very serious effect on your brain function. It also affects your mineral absorption because caffeine or coffee, when you drink a lot of coffee, it speeds up digestion. So you can't break down your food properly. And without proper digestion, which is broken down of your food, then you don't absorb your minerals very well. And the minerals that are affected mostly are calcium, magnesium, and iron. So that's another effect of excess caffeine. In my practice, I see a lot of people that ask me the question, is coffee good for me? Can I have coffee? Well, that is very individual because there's a gene that we inherit from our parents. So we either have the CYP1A2A1 or the CYP A2F1. So one, if you have one or the other, you will know because a lot of people can't have a cup of coffee after 3 in the afternoon. Some it's after 12. They will not have a cup of coffee because they're on edge. They're really jumpy and it affects them. They're not able to sleep. Some people are able to have a cup of coffee just before going to sleep. So obviously they have the gene that they're able to metabolize caffeine quite quickly. So that's what it does. You either have the gene that you're able to eliminate caffeine out of your system quickly or not. And so that's where that question would be, is it good or bad for you? But a step further that I want to discuss is the symptoms of addiction to caffeine can appear with as low as 100 milligrams per day. So if you have a medium cup of coffee, you're going to have about 200 milligrams, depending on where you buy your coffee and the brand, and there's many different variables. But just as a general rule, let's say you have one medium cup a day, then you're going to have about 200 milligrams. There's some people that you will know that cannot function before they have a cup of coffee. They feel lethargic, they're tired, they can't function. And once they have their cup of coffee, they feel so much better. Well, there's chemical reaction that actually happens in the body because caffeine will actually block the receptors to adenosine. And adenosine is a precursor to producing adrenaline and dopamine, which are your pick up and go neurotransmitters. So the more caffeine you have, the less your body is able to produce those two neurotransmitters on their own. So the body relies on caffeine to actually produce adrenaline and dopamine. So those two neurotransmitters make you feel good. So obviously it's not in their head that their cup of coffee, well, it's actually, yes, pardon the pun, it is in their head that the cup of coffee is actually making them feel better, because it does. And that's why the more caffeine you have, or the more coffee you have, the more dependent you become on your coffee. So because you're less able to produce your neurotransmitters, so your feel-good hormones. And over time, the problem that you will have is, let's say you have a cup of coffee at 8 in the morning, another one at 10, another one with lunch, and another one in the afternoon. And if you break that cycle, you're going to feel miserable. Well, over time, this can cause fatigue and exhaustion, and it can also lead to depression, because without your neurotransmitters that actually make you feel good, your dopamine and your adrenaline, your body is not able to produce it unless you have caffeine. So you become less and less sensitive to the effect of caffeine over time. So that can lead to depression. And that's where it's something to look towards, and maybe to reduce the consumption, to slowly reduce it. And we do have strategies on how to wean someone off of high levels of caffeine so that they're not feeling so miserable during the process. That's done more on a one-on-one consult. So I hope that this was informative, and I hope to see you in my next video.